What's up, family? It's Mr. Moody, aka Jeff is Moody from the Jeff is Moody Show, and you are listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.
We love listening to Cousin Ed's Corner in the UK.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? It's your boy, Cousin Ed. Cousin Ed's Corner back at you again. No matter how you cut it and slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. Yes, that's a mouthful. We're back. We're back. We're back. Hey, it's Friday. Hopefully, everybody had a great week. Hopefully, everybody's getting ready for the weekend. I am excited. I can't express the level of excitement I'm going through right now. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning, actually Christmas Eve. I can't go to sleep. My heart is beating fast. I'm just excited, and y'all will see why in a minute. This show is going to be different. You won't hear from me long, as I always say, but truly today you will not hear from Cousin Ed long, and I have a good reason. But before I get into that, real quick, um, big up Mr. Moody. Big up Mr. Moody, my big brother. We've been talking. We have some collaborations coming. He has a new segment coming out on YouTube. I will give y'all updates when it comes out. But Mr. Moody's coming back out with some new stuff, some new fire. Yes, yes, yes. And you may see your boy Cousin Ed on it. And you heard the word "see." Oh, I already said YouTube, so I gave it away. But hey, it is what it is. Y'all will be able to check us out on YouTube or check him out, and I may be appearing in some of his episodes. Also, I did just release my Linktree page that has most of my links in it. You can check out me on Linktree. If you don't know what Linktree is, please go out and visit Linktree. It is linktr.ee/Cousin Ed's Corner. That is COUSINES. I mean, excuse me, EDSCORNER. So Cousin Ed's Corner. Ed's is plural. Excuse me. I'm gotta get used to this. Gotta get used to this. You see the news anchors, they mess up all the time, right? I'm new. Excuse me. Without further ado, and I'm excited too. So I'm going all over. Today's show. Let me see if I can drop this. Hold on. Let me see if I can drop this. Today's show, I have a guest. I have a guest. I have a special guest for y'all. And you already heard me mention Moody, right? So that's one. And you always hear me. You lately have been hearing me mention my coach. I have a coach who's helped me with this podcast and this media content, this content creation. I have a coach. Cousin Edwin got a coach, right? We bumped into each other, and she explained more about it. But we're working together on some things, right? And I said I'm already giving half of it away. But um, I asked her to come visit Cousin Ed's Corner, right? So those who know our old show, Mr. Moody's Neighborhood, Cousin Ed's Corner is part of Mr. Moody's Neighborhood. Will never change, right? And I have a visitor today in Cousin Ed's Corner. I am honored. Let me do this. Hold on one more time. I'm a cornball with these effects. I'm honored today to have Queen Taralyn Michelle. Now, I've mentioned her before. I've been trying to tee y'all up for some things that we have coming forward within this podcasting or this media in general. Um, I asked her today just to come talk to y'all on this TGIF, on this Thank God It's Friday, Thank God for Everything. She is a spiritual coach also, not only just coaching through media and podcasting and writing books and this I want to say this girl, but this lady, this queen, this she is powerful. It's not I mean, it's a lot of y'all sisters out here doing some things, but this one right here, I mean, she's doing some things. And I have teamed up with her to do some media creation, to do some. I might be writing a book. Y'all don't look, watch. I can't tell all the secrets yet, but I'm working with her on a couple of things. But she has uh, been able to come and visit Cousin Ed's Corner, and I'm going to have her host today's show. So for those who miss Cousin Ed this week, I'll be back next week. Look for some new things, but I can't stay long because I got somebody that's already teed up to do this bigger and better than what I do. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Queen Taralyn Michelle, the Grind to Find podcast.
Greetings, beautiful souls. Greetings, and welcome to Cousin Ed's Corner. Taralyn Michelle here, guest hosting for Cousin Ed this week, and I'm telling you, I am so excited to be here. When Ed called and said, hey, I was wondering if you would sit in for me on Cousin Ed's Corner guest host this week. Yes, absolutely, I'll do it. I got so excited because I am a fan of Cousin Ed and what he does. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me, but I gotta brag on this show for a minute. Okay, so Cousin Ed and I, real quick. Cousin Ed and I met. There's a vegan group that we were in, and so anyway, that's how we met. He is true to this vegan thing. Me, I'm very new to it. I'm getting the hang of it. I'm liking it. It's a challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge. But anyway, we connected in this group. He's always sharing some amazingly thought-provoking things, which I'm always down for. And during the course of our communication within this group, somehow we got the gist. I may have shared something or whatever, but he got the gist that I'm a creative just like he is. And so we ended up sharing some of our creative things that we've done. I'm a spoken word artist, so I shared some poetry, and he shared some of his show back in the day. He said 13 years ago. I couldn't believe it because when I listened to the show, I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is live and this is popping right now. Come to find out, this was from back in the day because, you know, Ed is true to this. He was doing this before podcasting was even a huge thing with people. So I'm listening and I'm like, first of all, on average, Ed's shows are maybe 7 to 15 minutes. What he's able to pack into such a short amount of time was just amazing. Such substantial, thought-provoking stuff. So being a fan of the show and having the opportunity to just sit and think tank with Ed is just amazing. So being here today, all right, that's why I'm excited. Let me go on a little bit forward into thanking God for everything. We're used to TGIF, thank God it's Friday, or thank goodness it's Friday. But I love how Ed has put his spin on this. And this is not just about thanking goodness that it's the end of the week and maybe we get to prop our feet up and do nothing for those of us who have weekends off. No. TGFE, thank God for everything, is all about putting a stop, putting a pin in life to show some acknowledgement for the fact that if you're even listening to this show, it's a gift because you made it another day. So I'm going to add some of my context to this powerfully, wonderfully made concept for Fridays in just a moment. But before I do that, just a little bit about me. As I mentioned, I'm Taralyn Michelle. I'm a certified spiritual mindset coach. I am a professional ghostwriter and host of my own podcast, The Grind to Find, and my podcast is all about supporting listeners in defining their grind, because this life can sometimes feel like a grind, whether you're a creative or just someone looking for content and information that helps you to make sense of some of the muddled areas of your life. It's all about defining the grind of this life on your own terms. And so being able to step into Cousin Ed's Corner and add to the greatness that he's already doing here, it's nothing but an honor for me, and I'm excited about today's show. So without further ado, let's glide right on into thanking God for everything. So there are two things that I want to touch on today for this topic. Number one is going to be atmosphere / intentionality. And number two is going to be trust, try, prove, praise. I'm going to break that down when I get to number two, but let's go on back real quick, back it up to atmosphere and intentionality. Now, when we talk about thanking God for everything, as a spiritual mindset coach, everything begins in the mind for me. I'm always processing things from a space of not only what we're thinking, but how to take what it is that we're thinking and connect that to a space of our spirituality. I believe that that's at the core. Who we are in spirit is at the core of who we are, right? So here's an example. Each and every one of us have someone in our life that's special to us, all right? And so when you're going about your work day and this and that, you're probably in communication with this person via text. If your children are not, of course, they're in school and you're not able to be in contact with them, trust and believe you have their pictures in your phone. You're seeing them all the time. You're thinking about them all day. But that person that you're able to have contact with throughout the day via text, you probably don't even think about it. I bet you, on average, especially if it's a spouse or significant other, you're talking to that person via text at least 100 times a day. Because, texting go by real fast, right? So there's not just that presence of that person in your mind. There's also you becoming accustomed to and used to concluding, winding down your day and connecting with that individual. So then you may come home. If you guys don't live together, there's the conversation along the ride. Now you can actually put them on the speaker in the car, and then if you are coming home or maybe you're meeting for dinner, then there's the atmosphere of unwinding, right? It could be just having a conversation, getting caught up on the day. It could be having that meal. It could be finishing a conversation that maybe you left off on. There were some open ends on it, all right? So my point when it comes to thanking God for everything, it brings about a question. Do you intentionally create an atmosphere for God such that God is just an interwoven part of your mindset throughout the day and every day? I was speaking to a client a couple weeks ago. I don't even recall what we were talking about because we talk about so many things. But I said to her, when she was feeling a divide when it comes to her spiritual connection, her relationship with God, she was feeling a divide between that and things that were going on in her life. So I asked her a question because she's married. I said, do you talk to your husband every day throughout the day? And she said, girl, absolutely. I said, I know you do, because I had a husband, I would be talking to mine. I said, but do you have that same type of consistency, dedication, communication? Is God on autopilot like that with you when it comes to your communication with him in your life? And all of a sudden, there was a pause. And so I had an activity for her. I said for her to choose the last couple days. I think it was 2 to 3 days. Can't remember exactly. But I told her to choose the last couple days and count just via text, because they talk on the phone too. We're just going to go with text. Count how many times you picked up your phone and reached out to your husband. I said, now, when you count on average how many times you just pick up the phone and reach out to your husband, let's try to make it a goal that you create a space to just reach out and have contact with God at least the same amount of times that you have with your husband in a day. And there was just a pause, because she was like, wow, I hadn't thought about that like that. But the average one of us, we don't think about that like that. And I'm going to speak for me. I'm going to go ahead and let my slip show. Back in the day, you was in church. If your slip was showing, the mothers was going to stop you. They was going to let you know, hey, and they was going to get your slip together, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use myself. But I know that for a great majority of my life, God as a presence in my life was an afterthought. That was not the intention. Let's be clear. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. It was like I've grown up in the church. I've always heard about God. I believe that God is real. But God being an afterthought meant that I had my own agenda that I was leading in my life. And what I would do is decide what it is that I want to do. And then after I decided what I was going to do, then I would pray that God would bless it. So I'm leading and then telling my creator to bless what it is that I'm doing, not even knowing if that's what it is that he wanted for me. The reason why I did that, and the reason why many of us do that, I'm not going to go to the left talking about religion, so don't think that that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not. I will say this, in black churches and Christianity in general, when I was doing the religion thing and all of that, we are indoctrinated to think that as long as you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, that's all you got to do. That's it. As long as you believe, that's it. That's not relationship building. And so then that's how we get into these spaces where we're leading things that are going on in our life, and God, asking God to bless and like a genie, grant whatever wishes that we want or answer whatever prayers that we want. And so then it disconnects us from really being able to show true gratitude for what God has done in our lives. That's how we get to a space where, for those of us who have good health, that can just be something that we take for granted. Well, I'm happy to be healthy, but I'm happy to have a job, but I'm happy to have this and that, but that's how we can get to a space where we minimize what seems to be something that's normal for us, as though we're entitled to some of the pleasures that we're afforded by our Creator in our life. And we all have different struggles. Someone listening to this may be battling a physical ailment. They may be going through strained relationships, the challenges that you see a lot of folks having with their teenagers and children. And, these things have always been around, but I think that as times have changed, there's progression of some of the different challenges that we have due to the changing climate, how immorality has been normalized and things like that. So there's a whole lot more that's complicated in this 21st century as opposed to what it used to be back in the day. So I acknowledge that those of you listening are in different places in your life for different reasons. However, the only thing that I'm adding to wherever it is that you may be, because we're all somewhere, we all have some things going on, is that if we're thanking God for everything, are we creating an atmosphere of consistency as to where the presence of God within our life is automatic? It's ingrained and a part of our everyday. It's a part of our being. It's a part of our routine. It is a part of us, our children that we love, our significant others that we love. Those people in our life are integral. They're ingrained. They're habit. They're not something that we can easily disconnect from. They are a part of what we do and how we flow. And so in thanking God for everything, I believe the only way to truly be able to do that with the depth that Yah is worthy of our praise, Yah, God, Yahweh, the only way for us to truly be able to do that is to have a relationship as to where we intentionally create an atmosphere where there is no separating our thoughts of Him, the presence of Him, our communication with Him in the same way that we do with the people that we love and who are physically present in our life every day. So that's number one. And I'm happy that my time is not super crazy. I'm trying to stick within the guidelines of what it does. But let me glide right on into number two. So I said, trust Him, try Him, prove Him, praise Him. Listen, when I was little, I grew up in the church. Fun fact about me, I used to be an indie recording artist. I've been writing stories, poems, songs, literally before I could read and write. That's another story for another show, because y'all look up and it'll be 45 minutes up on this show. And I ain't trying to do that because I'm at Cousin Ed's Corner today. I'm not at the Grind to Find. So anyway, what made me think of that is because when I was little, my grandma, the mothers in that church, honey, she used to have me sing this song. This is called God Knows. And part of the song was, all you got to do is trust Him, try Him, prove Him, praise Him. He's done a work. God's done working in my lifetime. So anyway, that's how the song went. And so I remember singing the song. Well, you just singing it because they tell you to sing it, right? And then they get to the part, He's working it out, already worked it out. All right, so so I remember singing that song and not really understanding the depth of the words. But when it comes to thanking God for everything, in conjunction with the first point that I wanted to make, here's the second one. How can we truly be thankful for even the littlest things, to even get to a space where we acknowledge some of the smaller things? if we've never created an atmosphere where we trust him, and then because we trust him, we allow ourselves to try him so that he can be proven, and then we can praise him based on that. So I have an example. For that. Just yesterday, actually, I believe this decision was made on the 25th. You're listening to this. This is the 28th, all right, of October, 2022. So what had happened was, and you know there's a story when it starts with what had happened, right? What had happened was, y'all remember when COVID-19 came around, all of a sudden you have the government forcefully making people take those COVID-19 shots, right? So then it was in New York City, and I don't have the article in front of me because I didn't necessarily plan to talk about this, and I'm not going to get deep into it. But anyway, in short, you can check it out. You can Google it. There was a ruling that was made by the court that folks who were fired from their jobs because they would not take that vaccination, not only do those people have to be reinstated, but they have to be paid back pay retroactively from when they were fired. All right. So why do I use this example? I use this example, and this is no shot to anyone listening at all. That's not what this is about. But those folks who stood on who their source was, their creator, and said, you know what? Even though I may lose my job, that's what's going to have to happen because I'm not comfortable with what I'm being told about this. And so I'm not going to put this in my body. They chose not to do that. I'm pretty sure there were some monumental losses that those folks had to face by losing their income. I bet you if there are homes that were in foreclosure and lost, I'm sure there were vehicles that were lost. I'm sure there was food that couldn't be purchased, clothing that couldn't be purchased, medication that couldn't be paid for, different things. We know, okay, we're living life, we're adults, we're in this world. We know how deep that situation can get, right? So I'm sure that there were many, 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 many monumental losses because of them choosing not to go against what felt right for them. Only for months, maybe a year or so later, for them to be vindicated. And this is just in this state. The thing about it is that this opens up the possibility for other states to follow suit. There are already corporations who are quietly redoing some of their policies in response to this. But anyway, those folks who stood on what they felt like was right for them and trusted their source said no. And now, at least in the state of New York, they're going to be, I don't know that they'll ever be made whole, but at least they'll be compensated for that. They had to trust bigger than them, and they had to try their faith. And it took some time, but they were able to be proven just in doing so, just and righteous. And I'm not talking just and righteous in this world. I'm talking just and righteous according to Yahweh. They had to be proven, and now they can praise him because it doesn't happen overnight. That's the thing, people. When we're actually thanking God for everything, we're usually doing that in some of the most ridiculously stressful and dirty moments throughout our life. But the process of trusting him requires for us to go through the trenches and still remain faithful. And he will always show himself approved. So when it comes to thanking God for everything, that's the second part of this. How are you going about organizing a climate of your life, an atmosphere of your life, where you're intentionally going into the fire to trust him and try him so that he can be proven? And when you praise, you're praising with specificity for the way in which God has brought you through. I want to close, and I'm proud of myself because I still did much longer than Ed. And y'all, I promise you, there's so much more I could talk about with this. But I want to close this episode by saying this to you. At the end of the day, we all know that we don't know what the next moment brings, much less tomorrow. And anything that was before this moment is the past and it does not matter. It doesn't. And I know that in the grand scheme of things within this life, it's hard to believe that the things that matter so much to us in this world that we've been indoctrinated to believe matter. Things that at the end of the day have a value of zero. Money has value because we've given it value. And I know you say, wait, we don't give it value, because if I don't give it to the freaking mortgage company, what's going to happen with my house? Okay, well, and I get it. That's a valid argument. However, it's valid from a carnal space, because that ruling in New York shows you that at the end of the day, all of this stuff that we've been indoctrinated to value above our creator doesn't value, because has no value. And what's evidence of that is those people lost what should have been the most valuable thing to them in this world. But I guarantee you that of all of the hard knocks that they had to take for standing on who their source is and not allowing this world to occupy that space, them standing on that, they still made it. It wasn't easy, but they still made it. They still made it, and they get to see the fruit of what it means to trust in the source and not these resources that the world tries to give us. So I just want each and every person that's listening to this to ask yourself the question, upon checking out this episode today, Cousin Ed's Corner, what have I done to create an atmosphere of intentionality so that my connection to Yahweh, to God, so that I can thank him for everything, not just on Friday, but for every day? What atmosphere have I created so that he is a seamless and integral part of my mind, my everyday, my movements in my life? And number two, do I have the courage to go further when it comes to that atmosphere and create a space that is challenging for me, where I can trust, try, prove, and then praise, and I mean praise with some substance, what it is that God has done for me? That is it for content today. It's been such a pleasure to share this space with you. You know what? I can only hope that at the end of the day, what I've shared with you today has done Cousin Ed's Corner some justice. And you guys already know Cousin Ed has a lot of different things going on. I'm so happy. I know that when he came back this time around, he started off with the one show per week, but now there's so many different things that he has offered during the week. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of what drops when, because Ed has so many amazing things going on. I don't know what all of them are, and I don't want to tell you incorrectly. What I can tell you to do is make sure that you are following the show. Make sure you're following the show so that you can be updated when he uploads. You can be alerted when those shows come up. And I just want to make sure that you don't miss a thing. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cousin Ed's Corner. Again, if you want to check me out, Taralyn Michelle, on The Grind to Find, you can do that by searching The Grind to Find podcast in any of the major app platforms where you listen to your shows, or you can log on to thegrindtofind.com. You can link many of the major apps from there. In the meantime, in between time, go into the rest of your weekend and into the coming week knowing that, hey, it's already won and done. All right. Until next time, Taralyn Michelle here, out. Peace and abundant blessings.
Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed.